Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited, female veterans are honored by honor flight. Will a government shutdown harm aviation again? A UAV user is criminally charged in Los Angeles. I'm Bree Cross. It's September 25th, 2015, and this is Airborne Unlimited. An honor flight organized by the group's Midwest Regional Office made a trip from Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky International Airport to Washington, D.C. this week with only female veterans on board. It was the first such trip to include only women, according to Honor Flight. It's reported that the day trip was put together with assistance from the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. Honor Flight's regional director, Cheryl Popp, said the VA helped locate the female veterans, which included those who had served in World War II and post 9/11. When the flight departed Cincinnati, there were more than 140 passengers on board, according to the report. The group visited the Women in Military Service Memorial at Arlington National Cemetery, where VA Secretary Robert McDonald addressed the group. Indiana Senator Joe Donnelly greeted the veterans during a visit to the World War II Memorial on the National Mall. We at ANN salute the many women who have proudly served in our armed forces. With the end of the fiscal year looming on October 1st and no federal budget document in sight, the Senate Appropriations Committee has released a draft of a continuing resolution for the federal government that would extend funding at its current level through December 11th. Of particular interest to ANN viewers is that the bill would continue to keep the doors open at the FAA, which is normally funded through a separate specific appropriation. That bill will be considered later this year or early next. The government shutdown of 2013 resulted in hardships on the aviation industry when the FAA stopped issuing airworthiness certification and aircraft registration. This made it almost impossible for aircraft manufacturers and other aircraft sellers and buyers to complete sales transactions. Even after full government functions were restored, aircraft registrations were delayed for months. After the break, UAV user interferes with police in Los Angeles.
The KSN 770 is an affordable, WAAS-enabled integrated MFD with a flexible hybrid user interface from Bendix King. Get your fingers on the 770's perfect blend of touchscreen and hard buttons. Easily control your GPS navigation, Navcom, weather, traffic, and terrain in any condition. For more information, go to bendixking.com.
Redbird is quickly becoming the industry standard for flight training. Since Redbird introduced its revolutionary FMX in 2007, colleges, universities, and flight training operations around the world have integrated Redbird products into their curriculum. It's time to discover what Redbird can do for you. Join the migration.
AML's patent-pending wireless induction charging system eliminates confusion over those charging cables, cuts down cockpit cable clutter, and allows you and your passengers to fly cordless and eliminate the cable nightmare. www.aviationmodificationleaders.com.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
Welcome back. If you would like to be a supporter of Airborne Unlimited, send an email to jim@aero-news.net. The Office of the Los Angeles City Attorney has filed criminal charges against a UAV operator for allegedly flying the device into a police helicopter's orbit over a crime scene in Hollywood. City Attorney Mike Feuer said, quote, "My office will hold those who recklessly operate these devices accountable for their actions," end quote. Martin Sheldon was charged with 2 counts of obstructing a police officer in the lawful performance of his duties. If convicted, Sheldon could face up to 1 year in jail and $1,000 in fines. Arraignment is scheduled for October 26, 2015. On August 27th, Sheldon allegedly flew a drone towards an LAPD helicopter as it searched for a suspect in an assault with a deadly weapon incident. As a result of the alleged drone interference, the LAPD helicopter was forced to make an evasive move and break off its search for the suspect on the ground. Video footage from the device allegedly shows the drone flying towards the police helicopter, as well as towards its spotlight and numerous police units on the ground. It's Friday, and that means that it's time for ANN CEO and Editor-in-Chief Jim Campbell to check in with his weekly barnstorming commentary. The FAA seems bogged down in its bureaucratic tar pit, And after years of study, they have not been able to come up with cohesive regulations regarding the use of unmanned aerial vehicles in the national airspace system. This week, Jim tells us this has led to the FAA's disastrous UAV decision-making. Here is this week's Barnstorming.
Thanks, Bree. Hi, folks. Well, first of all, before I get anything else, thanks once again for your support of the Let Bob Fly campaign. For those of you who may not be aware, take a look at www.letbobfly.net or .com to get information on what we're doing next. And if you would, send an email to letbobfly@aero-news.net if you'd like to get on a mailing list to be kept apprised of what we're doing. Okay, enough of the commercial. Anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about something that doesn't have to do with Bob Hoover, as I have for the last couple of weeks, and that's very simply this. We are constantly watching the news and seeing three little letters pop up more often than anything in recent memory, and that's specifically UAV, drones, if you will. Now, I've watched this industry over a period of time start to mature, and let's face it, it's got a long way to go, and so does the community surrounding it. But if there's anything with more immediate potential in the aviation and aerospace universe than UAVs, I'd like to know what it is. And at the same time, it's been handled abysmally by our FAA. We don't have a solid set of rules. And God help us, believe it or not, we're begging the FAA for decent rules to work by so that we can get on with the business of making a future. But the plain fact of the matter is this. The FAA was unprepared for UAVs and drones. It was unprepared for this amount of progress. It was unprepared for the community that has enveloped this technology. And it certainly was unprepared for the way these devices were going to take over our respective futures. That being said, something really significant needs to happen here. One, the FAA needs to get off its butt. Two, the industry that has the requisite expertise to be able to tutor and educate the FAA needs to get in this under the same roof as the feds, come up with a basic set of workable guidelines, build those rules, and get them out there so that we can build an industry and build a future. Now, between you, me, and the fence post, I'd rather see an industry consensus standards built around this like we have for LSA and a number of other aviation regimes. But the fact of the matter is that for now, politically, the football is going to rest with the FAA, and we're going to have to deal with them one way or another. So, as we have seen time and time again, the FAA does not have the expertise, and it certainly doesn't seem to have the intestinal fortitude to embrace the topic at hand. The industry needs to push it, Congress needs to push it, but more important, we need to come together to get something decent out there so that we can make progress, and some of the lawlessness, foolishness, and ridiculousness on the part of the community, and let's face it, there's plenty of that as well, can be dealt with an industry recognized, FAA recognized, community recognized standard that will allow this industry to build a future worth making. For the Aero-News Network, Airborne, and Aero-TV, I'm Jim Campbell.
After these messages, MT Propeller receives EASA approval.
Concorde's recombinant gas RG series sealed battery technology produces a high-performance battery with the advantages of being pre-tested and fully charged at the factory. Find out more about Concorde's entire line of batteries at www.concordebattery.com. Concorde, the heart of your aircraft.
Now certified, Aspen Avionics single-band ADS-B ATX100 and ATX100G transceivers are the next-gen ADS-B solution that provides the features pilots need while keeping flyaway costs low. Check it out now at aspenavionics.com.
Sandia introduces the new SAI 340 Quattro TSO'd airspeed, attitude, altitude, and slip. With integral backup battery, safety never looked so good. See it now at www.sandia.aero.
Welcome back. With so much news coming out of the aviation industry, we're summarizing some other interesting stories in a brief segment we call Around the Patch. EASA has issued an STC following the installation of the next generation 3-blade Scimitar composite MT propeller on Rockwell Commander 112 and 112B airplanes powered by Lycoming turbo-normalized engines. The new propeller reduces the ground takeoff roll and improves climb. A TSA screener has been arrested on charges that he stole $61 from a wallet after it went through a scanner. He was arrested by Port Authority police after they viewed the surveillance video footage that showed he was responsible for the theft. Flying Smart has opened a new operation at London Biggin Hill Airport in the UK. The company will serve as a recently appointed authorized distributor for DAR's TBM family of turboprop aircraft. They are TBM's distributor for the UK, Ireland, and the Channel Islands. Premier Aviation Overhaul Center and Atlas Air Worldwide Holdings have entered into a 2-year extension of their agreement to provide airframe-heavy maintenance on Atlas Air's fleet. The contract extends the relationship the two companies have maintained since 2013. The first space shuttle launched from Cape Canaveral 30 years ago on October 3rd. While the spacecraft have been regulated to the museum, the legacy of America's space trunk will be celebrated by the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Center with a day-long event. Well, that's our trip around the patch. Now let's move on to the rest of the news. If you're going to provide service, you have to be there. And that's why Hartzell Propeller has named Shenyang Avius Aviation Maintenance Engineering Company its first service and support center in the People's Republic of China. Shenyang Avius was established in 1998 and has a professional maintenance staff of 40 people who perform maintenance, repair, and overhaul of aircraft engines and components. Max Wang, Hartzell Propeller Managing Director for China based in Shanghai City, said in a news release, quote, "This latest initiative demonstrates that Hartzell Propeller is committed to Chinese owners, operators, and mechanics," end quote. Hartzell recently completed translations of propeller owners' manuals into Mandarin for the most popular turboprop and piston-powered aircraft flying in China. Well, that's our program for today. Remember to get comprehensive real-time 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. Remember that Airborne Unlimited is streamed daily Monday through Friday with additional breaking news bulletins for important stories that fall outside of our normal deadlines. Please join us and a growing roster of over 100 outstanding industry associations and organizations every weekday for the best in aviation and aerospace news from the staff of the Aero-News Network, the aviation world's most comprehensive news and information resource. Have a wonderful weekend. We will see you on Monday.